Hello, and welcome back to the Spirit of Watercolor with Linda. I've been on vacation, as I told you in the last video where we were practicing spattering our autumn colors onto an autumn scene of trees in the background, loose and just practicing. And then I went on vacation and I started to sketch, so I will go to that video in just a moment where you can see me out on the bay up in Michigan, Sutton's Bay. It was beautiful. My husband and I had a real break, which we badly needed. And we enjoyed the gift shops and some of the restaurants. We mostly ate at home. My husband's quite a chef, so we bought food, in the local markets and bakeries. And I got these earrings. They're Petoskey stones, which are so popular up north. If you know about Michigan, you go up there and everyone's wanting to find these. And this lady is a local jeweler there, and she makes Petoskey stone earrings. And we got some for my daughter too. Shh, it's a secret. She'll find out when we see her again soon. Just wanted to share that because it was such a lovely experience, and I'm going back. I took this small pad with me, my Strathmore pad, and I took just a couple of my favorite round brushes, a pointed round and a regular round, and I took my drawing pencils and my wonderful little Sennelier paint box, which I never took outside before. I put them in my palette, but as you can see, I used my palette. You open this up, it's a wonderful metal palette, and it's got 10 tubes of 10 milliliter paint in it, from 2 yellows, 2 reds, 2 blues, 2 greens, and a couple earth tones. Just a wonderful take with you thing. I didn't realize how much I'd enjoy taking that outside. And the little palette pockets are here. I'm using this way. I don't know if this is the plan, but to cover these up so that the paint doesn't get into the tubes there. And then it closes up. And I always put a rubber band when I'm traveling. I've always done that because the paints can fall out if it got jarred open, if it hit the ground or something like that. So I'm so glad you're joining me today. We're going to take our sketch, of which I haven't quite actually finished. I was starting it outside drawing, you'll see. And then I went from that to taking and painting on it. And then I painted a little bit more when I went inside, so I got about that far. I've still got some things to finish on here. So I'll go ahead and maybe even go into that on video. Would you like that? Okay. And then we'll take this and expand it to a larger piece. Next time I go, I will take my my tripod so I can actually videotape out there. The day was nice. At least one day it was nice on our trip. In October, things shift and change with the weather. We had rain and we had cold weather quickly after we got there. But it started off nice. So we'll look at this a little more, and I need to bring in rocks. I need to bring in a little bit of trees from the side. Again, I would have gone with a larger sheet of paper, and I would have brought a tripod so you could have seen me working on this. Even if I'm struggling with the painting, it's not going quite what I thought, I'll get something out of it. And I should say that, when you're on video, just like real life, things happen that you might go, oh, I wish I had done this or that. But then you take that sketch to the larger piece, okay? And then you know what you didn't like or did like, and you use what you liked, and you don't, or you change what you didn't. And that's what sketches are about. I'm pro sketch more and more, as I didn't used to be. I used to be a spontaneous painter and just, but I find this saves you paper too. So there are a lot of good reasons for sketching. So I look forward to seeing you at the table. And we're going to look at the video of Sutton's Bay and what I did there. And then we're going to go to the table and we're going to create a beautiful painting of the bay, the water. There's rocks. There's some autumn trees around. And artistic license, like I mentioned, will be in there. You'll see some changes from this. But it's the inspiration that counts. As I've told you in my videos, you can change things in the composition, you can make changes to your liking. It's your world, it's your paintings, and take what you love from the either still life or landscape or whatever you're looking at to create your painting. Take what you want, put it in there. Don't what you want, don't. or you can simplify things, make them wetter, looser, tighter, more detailed. This is what being an artist is all about. So welcome, I'll see you there. Okay, so I'm sitting here at Sutton's Bay. It's just a beautiful day. It might be the nicest day we have on the trip. Looking out at the bay. I'll scan over around a little here. Don't know if I'm in the shade, if it's going to come up real good, but it's just beautiful here. So what I'm going to do is I've been trying to draw up sort of this here, but I've got a tiny little sketch pad, so it's kind of going to be challenging here. But I've been doing a little bit of the backland in the bay, and then we're trying to do the rocks in the foreground. There's a fire pit right here. I don't know about that dock, if I want it in there or not. I've walked on it. It's lovely. I get a little a little dizzy out there on that. I don't feel super secure, but so anyway, I might put in that tree, maybe that fence. You know, it's artistic license. Put in what you love about a painting, you know, that you want to say, how it makes you feel, okay? Don't worry too much, especially in a sketch form here. And you've got photographs you can take back home and, you know, expand on the details into a larger piece. Okay. So here I am doing a watercolor sketch that I can't really film out here. I figured I should have brought a tripod, but I wasn't really, I didn't know how much I'd be able to paint out here. But I'm trying, get the rocks going a little in there, some of the sandy beach, some of the beautiful blue sky out there, or blue, yeah, well, I haven't done the sky, but the water is just this most beautiful blue that's in my Sennelier paints, I believe. And so I will go back to the studio and we will take this to a larger piece, and we will zoom down and take it to a larger piece, and then we'll go through what we're doing. And this will be my sketch, and then we'll go and I'll take you through how I do the loose work, and then we'll detail in some branches from the tree up over here. Isn't this great? It's a beautiful day. It's going to hit 70. And then after that, it's going to go into real October weather. So this is a blessed day here. Okay, so here we are back home. And we have our sketch that I will work on finishing. I'm taking this my newer palette, I'm sorry. And we're going to clean up our palette. This has Sennelier paints on it with some other paints on it as well. This is how I sometimes just clean up my palette, just so you know. You can get a lot of information off without losing all your paints. As usual, one of my hairs is on the palette. And then, but getting off, where it's all mixed and muddying up your palette. And a couple paper towels, it's worth getting rid of that, but not taking all the paint off, because there's yellows, reds, greens, basically there after I've lifted it off. Okay. Then I wanted to mention that when I was doing this sketch, I was not super happy. I liked sort of how things were going here. But this is on this paper that's Stratford, is that the name of it? Strathmore paper. And I liked the colors, I liked things that were going on, but I had a little struggle with the background. The paper was so small and I'm used to larger, so I was getting too large. So I started to redraw, okay? Kind of more proportional sizing there. I'm debating. I think what I'm going to do is not go to this right now, but to go to a larger, more reliable paper that I like. I feel like I have more control on how these soak into the paper, more what I am used to. When you switch papers, sometimes you get unexpected things happening. But this does start to give me the layout of what I want for my painting, for my finished painting. So I'm going to go to a larger sheet, redraw more proportional again, and then we're going to go to pulling these colors, which I'll load on my palette here. From here, as you see, I did on when I was plein air outside, you know, is what that means, and taking some of those paints and putting them on my larger palette so I can work from there and work a large, beautiful painting of my the feelings that I was getting, what was invoked in my spirit and soul from painting on Sutton's Bay, sitting there absorbing the beauty. Okay? All right. Now I wanted to show you, I've got my tablet, I've got a photograph of where I was painting, and this is where, you know, Google Photos or one of those apps, you know, where you can get your photos on your tablet or whatever, can be so helpful, you know, or photographs if you did prefer that. And then you know, again, artistic license, like I mentioned. Some of this fence I don't find terribly interesting, or these chairs, but the rocks are beautiful here, right? And, you know, this is the thing where you can kind of say, this is what I like. You know, there's rocks. There's also a tree up here that I really kind of like, so I'm including that. So let's just move this up so maybe you can see, and I can zoom in on that. And then I've got the tree here, got some of the land in the background there of the bay, on the bay, and the water, and again the rocks. And then I've done a little bit of waves through the water just so I can remember the direction that they're kind of flowing in. They're kind of, you see waves here. There we go. Just sort of how they're flowing into the shore. And I like, there's some rocks under the water, which I actually, this is the other thing, you can go to different photos and look, and whoops, yeah, there's rocks here. You know, there's other paintings in all these photographs, of course. I was trying to find one where, let's see, again, more rocks. And, you know, oh, there it is. You can kind of see the reflection of the rocks. Let me see if I can get that in there. Under the water. And the color changes here. It's more grayish green as opposed to the blue of the water in the shore here. So I'm going to kind of do that as well. So again, I don't draw, you know, all that in because, you know, there's going to be leaves and things here on this tree. I may actually redden them up. I think that tree was starting to lose its color. But in some of my photographs, there's some beautiful orangey reds in the trees I want to include. And then, you know, I want to, again, use my sketch for reference. Okay, so we'll look at that for, you know, the colors that struck me and that I was matching up with my palette there. The rocks in the foreground that were this, there was a fire pit there, or for a fire, you know, a bonfire outside. So we'll go from there, and we'll start to paint. A larger will be easier for me to get the information and the perspective and the proportions correct here. So here we go. Now instead of jumping in, okay, to the large piece, I'm deciding to, you know, I'm recreating it on that smaller so that I have something to practice on, because, you know, then it'll take some of the mystery out of this. Okay, so because this is different paper, and I had my proportions wrong, but here I have them correct. I can kind of come in. I want to, you know, in the background, it's very far away, but there's land back there. There's colors of trees back there and little buildings, tiny little buildings that kind of show up as white or pale gray. And so we want to just kind of hint at those in that area there. You can either mask out some little areas or just work around them in just soft little colors. But it's in the background, so I don't want it to be this intense either. Okay, I got a little too, but I was just trying to, you know, create the colors I saw back there, but it got a little too strong so that it's not kind of setting back in the background. So that's what we're going to do to start with. We want reflections in the water. as you can see here, they got a little too defined, I want to say, and I just kind of stopped. I didn't try to fix things. I just let it dry, and then we go, okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay. So here we're going to come in with some of that beautiful blue. I've also got a phthalo blue on my palette, which is a little less green. When I really look at the photographs, the water wasn't quite the color that, you know, I had thought. I'm actually on a smaller sketch, I'm tending to go with smaller brushes, so to get in the information, unless I'm just coming in, say, with a flat of color up here, which then again you can use any of your flat brushes to just wet across here. Okay, I'm going to just bring in some soft blue up there. You see that? Oop. Let's turn this camera down just a little and try not to drop it. And then, you know, of course, we have this beautiful water here, which we will come into later. And then we have some beautiful things going on in the land up here. And we'll have rocks and so forth going on as well. Yeah, just so I can get some idea of colors and how the colors are going to apply, and transferring that from there to the bigger one. So let's see, we have this beautiful blue that we used in our sommelier paints, which is here. Okay, and that is just a gorgeous blue. And so, you know, I'm going to want to, you know, put some of that in my sky to start, okay? Actually, I think I'm going to stick with this color because it may not be exactly what I saw out there, but it certainly evoked the same feelings that I was getting. And I'm just going to hint it in here because I'm going to put some red leaves and so forth in there as well. I'm going to just kind of spread in there kind of, and then come back through here and try not to lose my land. Now, just looking at what I just did, and I let it dry, so boy, the sky came out way nicer than I thought it was going to. I really like it, and nice and loose and fresh. This one a little better than I expected, the small one. And now I'm going to kind of look at this here, and we're going to continue on a little more with this, and I'm just going to actually look at my photo again. Let's see now. We've got a wet flat here, and I'm doing the large one. As you remember, I just did that with the cobalt and the Sennelier blue paint. That was kind of, I think it's the Sonorous, I think it's called. So now my palette has on it the phthalo blue. So I'm going to do that instead of the cobalt. I just feel that it will be more intense and beautiful. I love this color. I just don't use it enough, and I have a pretty brand new tube of it. I'm going to come around with my flat brush, lining it up around, just with clear water, again, where the I'm thinking, should I have little grasses there where there were some like sticks sticking up out of the ground, but they weren't very interesting to me. So I basically turned them into just some little grasses there up and in the rocks. Okay. And then I'm coming around, like I said, just with my water here, clear water, just kind of defining where, you know, the wet paint of the water will go. And then we will, actually we'll have some down here, but it's going to blend some blue over another color, which is going to be something like maybe a Payne's Gray or something where there's land under the water, and I'll kind of over some rocks that are going to be right in like here. Okay, but we'll get to that later. For now, I'm just coming in with the beautiful, the colors that I want to put in for the beautiful bay there. That's what, you know, was giving me such joy, was staring at that bay for a week reading a book. And this is on, yes, okay, I want to make sure. I've got so many brushes out, it's a little crazy. But I just pull your favorite brushes that give you the most confidence. This is one of mine. This is the Pointed Rounds by Winsor Newton. They don't hold up very well as far as the handles is disappointing, but they are sable and they're very dependable. The hairs of the sable here. I don't know if sable is a kosher thing anymore. I think some people are saying that it's what's the word? Kind of like a fur coat. I don't know if you're supposed to be enjoying them, wearing them. I don't know. So we'll see what happens. Maybe you can comment in the comment section what you think of those. You can see that this color, because I put the cobalt, mixed it in a little. Actually, I did not. No, that's just the Sennelier Cineris. I'll have to check that name. I get my names goofed up. But I'm just coming in, even though I wet the paper some, I've still got this kind of dry brush going in here. I like that up at the top here, just to create that beautiful, see that? How it's nice and creating its own shimmers in the water, right? And then I go back and forth between that round and my regular round. You know, there's no, it's not trimmed to a point, it's just falling to somewhat of a point, but not really. So that is, I find that I don't have that fine tip, so I can soften things up with this brush. Okay, you might enjoy trying these kinds of brushes yourself. You can, I hear Black Velvet is this really nice brand of synthetics that apparently work really well, and people enjoy them as much as the sable, and they're probably more, they could be more affordable. I haven't checked that out, so we can check into that. Okay, so far so good, right? That is the phthalo, and I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, actually I must have been grabbing the Cineris, my apology. It's in the background there. This is the phthalo. And this I kind of like though. It kind of looks like a wave coming in. And I'm debating whether I need any more, or is that too much? Maybe one here, maybe not quite so heavy. But kind of here. Okay, we're gonna let this dry. I'm very pleased with where this is going so far. This might be one of those paintings I have to speed up and chop out some of the stuff that's just taking me a little too long. But we'll end up with a probably 20-minute to half-hour video, and we're gonna do what works best. So far so good. I would like a little white here, which I can do, I believe, pretty well just with a tissue or something here, and just kind of flatten it out. And I see the whites I like there, but I don't have any here, so I'm going to bring in some, just like you do with clouds where you're lifting something out. Okay, because I didn't feel like it was making sense that there's no white all there, and yet down there, and maybe a little bit here. Just a little bit there too. Just like when you pulled out clouds, lift out clouds, you can lift out while these paints are wet. When these blues dry, sometimes they're on there for good. They're very staining, many of those, especially the phthalo. So far, I think that's good. Still feeling like I'd like a little more here. Maybe. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it now. And so far, I believe I like it a lot. I hope you're enjoying that. Trying to get it in there a little bit better. Let's just set it here, and I'll zoom in. Okay. Okay, so I've decided that we will stop here and call this part 1. I grant you that we've basically done our sky and our water of the bay, and we need to bring in, trees and rocks now to finish. But the video, this way you can slow down with me, and the video's not so long either, all in one, and we can kind of take a part at a time. And what I'd like to do is then we can work on this part, and then when we finish, you can go to part 2, and then you can start to work with me with some of the trees and leaves. It's kind of helping us not to try to do all this and get overwhelmed too quickly. Now I just wanted to show you that these were 2 other ones that I've done. This one I did in a video recently about dry brush. So there's dry brush in the tree and the lake and the water and so on. But the thing that's similar here to this new one we're doing is that I did all the blue, the sky and the water, and then I started to bring in these trees, mountains, and this. And what I like about this is it's not quite finished, but the colors are relating to each other. They're very similar on the palette. It's all from the same palette, where you have the browns and the reds here. And then the other one I want to do the same thing, where I have some golden browns and some golden yellows and oranges and reds and so forth. But they'll be also in the foreground too, so that will relate. It can make sure I move around the paper. It keeps you interested in looking around. Okay, that's really good stuff, right? Now this other painting I show is a loose but on wet, just a study on a sketch paper here. And I like the foreground where, this is kind of what I want to do here, but not quite so loose. This is some rocks and some foliage down there at the bottom. And I like how it's nice and loose and wet, and I'd like to kind of do that. I don't want to get it too detailed. I'd like it a little more detailed rocks than that, maybe a little more, the light being the rocks and so on. But I like, how this again has the related colors, okay, which brings our eye around. Right, the blues, browns, and so forth. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the table. We're going to continue this Sutton's Bay Part 2 in autumn, and I'm really hoping you'll join me and finish up with me. And hope you're enjoying this and you're feeling that you're inspired and motivated and learning and growing with me. So thank you so much again for watching. Please like and subscribe and continue on with me. Hope you're enjoying this and that it's helping you to grow as an artist and find the joy and the spirit of your life, spiritual nature of our lives, which we do by going out. I've been taking lots of nature walks, and I've been really enjoying this time of year more than I ever have before, and it takes it from, summer's over to, oh, autumn's here and it's beautiful. I mean, I never really focused in on it as much as right now, and I don't think I've ever seen it quite like this, when you're really trying to take it from what you see outside, take lots of photographs, and then bring it indoors and emulate those colors on your palette. You really absorb and enjoy the beauty even so much more. So I'm so glad you're here with me, and I'll see you in part 2. Let's go.